Now, some of you people are probably going to get kind of confused at the title of the video and are probably thinking, how does the Me Too movement bring back the Salem witch trials? Well, not the Salem witch trials literally. No one's being accused of being a witch and burned at the stake and all this stuff. It is the mentality that was used in the Salem witch trials that the Me Too movement is bringing back. That is why I named this video what I did. It's the Salem witch trials, the mentality that was used then in the late 1600s to burn witches. That mentality has been revived in its fullest due to the Me Too movement. Now, what am I talking about? Recently, unless you've been living under a rock, if you're listening to this video right now, you are fully aware that Harvey Weinstein has been convicted of sexual assault, rape, all kinds of stuff. They deemed him guilty, and he is going to be sentenced. Guilty of sexual crimes. Was there any video evidence? No. Was there any pictures, any admission from Harvey Weinstein? No. Was there any medical evidence? Did any of these women get evaluated by a hospital shortly after this alleged attack took place that states that their body was violated? Was there any evidence at all in the Harvey Weinstein trial? No. There was no admission from him. There was no medical evidence that they were assaulted. There was no picture evidence, no video evidence, nothing. There was absolutely nothing. No evidence at all. Harvey Weinstein was convicted solely on the basis of a woman's mouth. They said, he did this and this. Another one says, he did this and this to me. The jury believed them, and his ass is gone now. A man's life destroyed. Based on what? A woman's mouth. So no longer in the United States of America, I'm sorry folks, is evidence in a court of law required. A woman can simply say, he did so and so to me at so and so year, this month, this day, whatever. He did this, he did that. That's called an accusation. Used to, accusations had to be backed up by evidence. It's one thing to accuse and say so-and-so did this to me and that to me at this time and on this day. It's another thing to prove it. This is how the court system used to work. You make an accusation, the person then went to court, then you had to prove the accusation by presenting evidence. Harvey Weinstein, the Me Too movement has thus proved and has set a new standard for the United States of America and possibly the world, unfortunately, that you don't need to prove an accusation. Evidence is no longer required. What's required is a woman's mouth to make you the accusation and simply be convincing enough on the stand and a person's life is gone. This is the Salem witch trials all over again. It has been revived, the mentality of that, thanks to the Me Too movement. What happened in the Salem witch trials in the late 1600s? All you had to do was say so-and-so was a witch. Just make the accusation, and they were captured by the authorities and hung at the stake based on nothing but an accusation. You make the accusation, you sound and look convincing enough, and if they believe you, the person was burned at the stake. This mentality has been revived by the Metoo movement. Now all a woman has to do is make the accusation, look and sound convincing, and the man's life is over. Thank you, Metoo movement, for destroying justice in this United States of America. And they say, oh, well, survivors have to be believed. They should be believed. No, they shouldn't be believed. You should have to prove the accusation with solid evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, not just the accusation. If we're going to go on this mentality, oh, well, victims should just be believed, they should just be believed, we need to believe them, then the same should go for all crimes. Which means from now on, if somebody attacked you or shoots at you with a gun or robs you, you no longer need evidence. All you have to do is say, well, so-and-so robbed me. And if you look convincing enough, sound convincing enough, that person's life should be over and they should be deemed guilty and sentenced. If it's good for sexual crimes, then it must be good for all crimes from now on. It's unfair to do it with sex crimes and not all crimes. In murder trials, evidence is required. They need the weapon, they need the motive, they need statements from other people and forensic evidence, all kinds of evidence to put the person at the scene of the crime, at the time the crime happened, to establish a motive, and on and on and on. Evidence is required before a person is hung for murder. But for sex crimes, they need none of it. A woman's mouth is enough. Oh, he did so-and-so to me. That's it. Guilty. Hang his ass. Now he's in prison. This is wrong. And again, if this is what we're going to do with sex crimes, then we should do it with all crimes. From now on, if somebody attacks you or like I just said, attempts to kill you or does anything to you, we should need no evidence now. Just go in the courtroom and tell a judge, so-and-so attacked me. And the person's life should be over. You shouldn't have to prove he did it, to place him at the scene of the crime, establish a motive. You don't need nothing anymore. That's the standard that the Metoo movement is setting. If it works for sex crimes, then it should work for all crimes. Fair is fair. Why should we need proof for murder, but we don't need proof for a sex crime? The system is absolutely screwed up. We need to prove that somebody robbed us. We need to prove that attempted murder happened. We need to prove every criminal activity that you can think of requires rock solid evidence. And the courts always want you to prove with evidence that so-and-so did this to you or that to you or robbed you or attacked you or tried to kill you. But with a sex crime, no evidence required. This is beyond an atrocity. It is, as I stated before, the Salem witch trials all over again. Evidence not required. Just point the finger and the guy goes to prison if you look and sound convincing enough. This is going to give women more power to ruin more lives, because what does it tell women? What's the message this is sending to women? That they have unlimited power. At any time they get pissed off at a man or or hate a man or want revenge against a man for any reason, all they have to do is use this unlimited power and say, well, he raped me on so-and-so night. He did this and this and this. And if you look and sound convincing enough in court, the person's life is over. This gives women unlimited power. That's the message it's sending to women. If you want to get even with the guy, you don't need no evidence. Just claim he raped you. That's it. And his life will be destroyed. And he will be sentenced to prison. Don't worry, women. You don't even need any evidence. So don't worry about evidence or putting him there at the scene. Nothing. You don't need any of it. Just say he did this, say he did that, and his ass will be hung. Yes, indeed, it is the Salem witch trials all over again. Point the finger, the man's life is over. Evidence out the window, not even required. You just look convincing on the stand, fake a little crying, sound convincing. That's it. You don't need evidence. This gives women unlimited power to destroy a man's life at any time she deems fit if you piss her off. Because women now know, thanks to the Harvey Weinstein atrocity, that all they have to do now is point the finger and destroy a man's life at will.